we were in Queens all last week at Aqueduct.
It looked like Saratoga, but it wasn't.
It was like the most convincing green screen you've ever seen.
I took the A train back to my apartment
Did
actually
you?
every day
Yeah,
after the
did
races,
you?
just to keep in the feeling for it. But anyway, great to be here. It's great to have the official opening day. Beautiful weather today, an excellent card.
We got really lucky with the weather, actually, with the way the forecast looked early. It looks like this weekend's, especially today, going to be really nice.
We didn't get lucky enough. We could have used some rain Monday and Tuesday.
I know.
Because we could use a little rain,
we
to be fair.
We could.
But nevertheless, anyway, we're excited to be here. We're excited that you're here watching. We got a lot to talk about. And boy, do we have slates for you on opening day. We're going to get right into it. Head over to Naira Bets if you're not a member. Use the promo code. Oh, yeah.
It's
Saratoga now.
now.
Well, we were at Aqueduct last week, as you correctly pointed out.
It's deterministic.
Spot 200. Oh, it's deterministic.
Yeah.
You
I know that
think Dunker's
face
not going to be happy
anywhere.
that his silks weren't, that it's Vinny's silks, not his?
Yeah, but they won the Gotham in Steve Dunker's.
Yeah, okay.
silks.
I'll remind Steve of
had
that.
some
When it's
good
got,
ones.
I'm kidding. Steve couldn't possibly care less. He's probably very happy to have deterministic, and frankly, he's happy to see Vinny up there as well. And looking forward to seeing Vinny. I don't know if he's been here yet.
I haven't seen him, but I hope so.
Yeah, and
He's
I
had a big year.
He has. He has. Yes, another win in the Stanley Cup as
Yeah.
well. I wonder if he'll bring the cup again like he so graciously did
So cool.
last year. What else do we have? Friday feeder contest, $40 for the feeder, $300 Saturday, $40 on Friday. You have till post time Friday to sign up for that. If you just want to play the regular contest, $300. All of it played only through Naira Bets. Head over to nairabets.com/contest for more information. $10 bonus. Hit a win bet in Saratoga, opt in, and you get a $10 bonus. I'm guessing that's one. Get the more information over at Naira Bets as well. What was that, Eddie? 10% bonus. What did I say? Did I? I was thinking percent, and I said dollar. Thank you, Eddie. That's why you're here. What else do we have? We have a cross country. Oh, we do. You know, you didn't tell me this, Eddie. You hid this from me. 3 from Saratoga, 2 from
Eddie
Horseshoe,
loves the
Indy.
cross country.
Eddie is the king of the cross country.
Yeah.
Big fives. He lives and dies for cross country big fives. We have the Saratoga Taste New York Pavilion. Check this out. Every racing day, Thursday through Sunday. No Wednesdays, as of course we'll be running Wednesdays the rest of the meet. 12 to 5, a lot of fun. Near Gate A in the Family Zone. Check it out. All sorts of good stuff. Taste of New York Pavilion. We've been doing it for years, and it's been a big, big hit for a good reason. We also have a T-shirt giveaway tomorrow. This is cool, right?
That's really cool.
Yeah, I like that. It's got all the stakes on the back. It's red for Saratoga. That's tomorrow. I like that T-shirt. I'm going to wear that T-shirt.
I like
That's
that
how
too.
much I like it.
Oh, I gotta get
That's
one.
cool, right? Kind of like a concert T-shirt, right?
It is.
Like it has the list
Yeah,
of the
no,
tour.
I see what they did there, and I love it.
Right, because you know, Johnny, you weren't really a deadhead if you were wearing the concert tour giveaway, and not just a random tie-dye you bought in Shakedown Street.
The most recent concert T-shirt I have was when we went to go see Pitbull at SPAC last year. I saw you there.
I was on stage, actually.
Yeah, you were.
Yeah. Really?
Backup
You went to
dancer.
see Pitbull at
It
Saratoga?
was so much fun.
Are you going to the ballet this week?
No, I'm not this week.
What?
I know.
It's the only week, right?
I know.
Why don't you tell me? I
Yeah.
would have gone with you.
Well, I was supposed to go with my mother-in-law, but then she ended up going to Florida this weekend. So.
Your mother-in-law is in
Yeah.
for some trouble for me. I've warned her.
Why?
Well, because unfortunately Christophe is gone, and I just did nothing to make fun of him. I told Valerie I'm going to make fun of her the entire meet. Just
She can
I
take
think
it.
Christophe would have wanted that.
She
She
can
could
take it.
absolutely take it. Never make fun of anybody that can't take it. What else do we have, Eddie? Are we at the end? There it is. 1 to 6:30, I believe, today. All on FS2. All right. Race numero uno of the meet. They'll be off at Saratoga, 2 turns. Let's start the conversation with the horse you have on top, Grace Reformed. Over, is it Asaira?
Asaira.
Asaira.
Yes.
All right.
Grace Reformed, I mean, they ran in the same race. There were several coming out of there. Purpose was far back in there, too. Grace Reformed was the one that was wide the entire way, made the first move, took the lead, and somehow Walk With Me on the inside came back late in the stretch. And I know Grace Reformed is going to be a short price, but just the horse that I thought was the most convincing to get the distance, and I thought ran the best race last time.
And I also think you make the argument there was an edged inside speed in this track, and I think that's what helped Walk With Me and worked against Grace Reform. I don't have an argument whether I don't love that she hasn't sealed the deal at short prices this year, but I agree with you. I think outside of my sort of semi-ridiculous pick, she's the logical horse, along with Sweet Anniversary, who comes in here. And we'll take a look at, I think, her
December.
race in December 15th when she finished second at Fast and Frisky. I don't have a real knock on her. And she has one going the 2 turns, mile 16, mile and 70. She does bring the rider, Kay Barcoa, who rode here a bit this winter here. And sometimes I wonder about coming out of town. I know some people will say you should bring the rider. That's a good thing. And I wonder, this is a pretty tough colony to come to.
It is. But I will say, as far as Kibarkoa is concerned, he has come here before. It's not kind of a new thing
That's true.
for him. And he has, I remember interviewing him after a win here in Saratoga. And he knows this horse well. So I certainly understand the thought process. And he comes a lot for the Ferraro horses, too, you know, like this one. Blinkers going on, stretching back out. Like you said, she has shown that she can handle 2 turns. And I would imagine she's going to be forward in here.
Yeah, I don't disagree. She's supposed to be forward, but so is Chasing Daylight. And I think the pace is worth discussing. I mean, is this the pace projector has a fast pace? Now, whether I know it's a fast pace, I thought they might be moving a bit in this race, at least for this relative field.
Chasing Daylight has one way of going.
She has to go.
Yeah.
And to get a mile and 8, she's got to go in here.
Yeah.
And I think that might compromise Sweet Anniversary a little bit in here. I miss Kaibar's dad, Ibar. I haven't seen him in years. You seen him? You ever seen him in Florida when you're down there? Were you around the game when he was riding?
No, I wasn't. But he came by.
He was a very, very tough rider. Okay, as far as Royal Bobby, I have a thing for this horse. And one thing I'll say is interesting about her last race, and I know you know this is the case, she's a horse that got left 6 or more lengths in both of her first 2 starts. Last time, she broke right with the field.
Well, and then dropped anchor.
Well, there's a rider change to Jose Ortiz on this horse. And I'm not saying she has much speed, but I'd like to think that Jose can get her at least to stay a little bit more in the game, unless the pace is super fast. And I don't want to condemn her off her first race for Linda, where it was a super sloppy track, and the winner wired the field. And I wondered if it was getting a bit speedy late in the day. And I have a thing for her. I want to give her one more chance. Listen, if she was 4-1, I wouldn't bet her. She's got to be every bit of that 8-1 morning line.
Yeah, but she also didn't really look comfortable last time either. She was swishing her tail, and it was wet track, and like you said, pace dynamics. So I get it. I put her in 3rd.
Yeah, I think she's a horse that we just don't know if she's good enough. Because
agree.
her races all, you could argue, the 57, you get less 6 lengths. It brings her up to almost a 70. And I'm not saying she's that good, but I'm not sure she's not, and I want to give her another chance on a fast track. And since occasionally I agree a lot today, I'm glad to have at least a little disagreement there. Race number 2. Devil in Disguise will show the last race at Keeneland. And this was in April. And listen, this is not a great drop, but it's a 4-year-old gelding making his 4th start. Somebody wants to claim this horse for 50. He's a tough horse to keep on the track. Keisha, I did not try to beat him. I don't think you did either.
I know. I looked at everybody else, and I think it was a case of just I don't know where else to go in here. George Weaver won a race last week where he said he kind of jumped a condition with a New York bred, but he said sometimes, you know, the quarantine had kind of set back several horses with quarantine between here and Belmont Park, and so having to kind of look for some alternatives. And I obviously don't know the case with this horse who's been up in Saratoga at least after coming from Keeneland since that race and coming in May. And yes, he's had a little bit of time between races, but like you said, I mean, just what he's doing in here, what he's facing in here, I should say, versus the races that he's run, the stake aside, I think he's just so much the horse to beat.
I agree. And I just, I know the 5 ran a solid figure last time, which puts him in line. I have so much trouble with figures and also rans and turf races. But to be fair, Carango did run a respectable race last time, and one that makes him a player in this race, and he'll be a better price.
He will be. He was the one that actually kind of broke on top, and then he had to duel with Java Buzz. Same thing, like a horse that has one way of going. He's going to the front. And then he actually, I thought, dug in pretty well. Well, that one faded.
I agree. It wasn't that fast a pace, though.
Yes, that is fair.
Speaking.
That is fair. Yes, I agree. I just had a really interesting idea about Alexis Zorba.
He's all yours.
I know. Look, he's been in such bad form recently, but he is coming in off a drop, and he's been gelded, which I think is the most intriguing angle about him, because this is a horse that would get so keen in the warm-up. He'd be throwing his head all over the place. He would get hot. He would just be really tough to handle, and so I am just curious as to what that will do, and in this company.
Okay, trivia question. Who was his trainer when he came to Saratoga for his first start?
Joseph O'Brien.
Yeah, it was Joseph O'Brien. Did Peter own him, Brant?
Yep.
and then he went to Chad.
He
I remember
debuted as a 2-year-old
at a
here.
mile. Shug beat him with a West Point horse.
Yes.
Kendrick was riding him, I think.
Dripping Gold? No,
Dripping-
no. That was Lascano was on Dripping Gold.
Okay,
no.
but I think it was Kendrick beat him with
Yes.
a Shug horse.
Yes.
And then when Chad first got him, I bet him on closing day, and
Yeah.
Tom Morley beat him at the wire. But Morley's horse had like a trip, and he had a
Yeah.
perfect trip. And
Yeah.
I get it.
I
He can
know.
win. I got it. I got him fourth. I've just had enough. I have My Life Story second, sort of by default. I'm not his
Yeah.
biggest fan.
I know.
I think it's important to note that most people are probably aware, they're watching the show, that with the rails at 0, the inner turf course saving ground was a significant advantage. The riders became aware of it, and it kind of made some of the races seem different. Now, it may have been mitigating a little bit by the end of the weekend, but not a lot. The rails are at 9 feet on the inner, so I think it's possible that we'll have a very different track. Now, but the rails went to 0 on the Mellon. Just because rails go to 0 doesn't guarantee a gold rail. And in the past, it's been a more prevalent bias on the inner than the Mellon. I don't know, but just keep that in mind as of course, the turf sprints are all run on the outer turf course, the Mellon turf course, and keep that in mind. But also keep in mind that the inner, the track may be fairer. I
Yeah.
can't promise you it is, but they have moved the rails, and I think that's an important thing
Good
given
point.
last week.
Absolutely.
I mean, I think that was one of the bigger stories, really, of the racetrack
And you could
last
see
week.
all the jockeys had clued into it, and everybody was trying to get to the rail.
Well, I mean, you look
Yeah.
at the way the Manila was run,
Yes.
and it was kind of like the whole, I always suggest it's like 7 horses trying to get through the eye of a needle.
Yeah.
And also, I think Flavien Prat probably was extremely frustrated after the Kelso because he probably felt like, I did what the right
Right.
thing to do was given how the track was
Right.
playing, but it mitigated the closing kick of that horse, and
Yeah.
it helped the eventual winner who stayed inside as
think
well,
big.
but made the last
Yeah.
move. And, it's hard to decide, do you alter your running style because of the racetrack or just take your chances? And in general, trying to alter to be there is the better idea, but sometimes it blows up in your face, and it's
Yeah.
frustrating.
It is. It is. I mean, there's only so much you can do with a certain type of horse.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's tricky.
And poor Flavien only won 5 races that day, so it
I
was a
know.
particularly rough beat for him. It could have been 6. Race number 3, Santagata scratched. I love when Santagata runs, even though I don't think that she's named for my man Nick Santagata.
She's not, we've been told. Yeah.
I know but
a
I don't
shame.
care. To us, it's
I
named
still
for
think of Nick Santagata.
the best. One of the great riders of my life.
Yeah.
Nick won over 4,500 races like the hard way.
Yeah.
Rid a lot of double headers, and he's a valet here as well as a
Yep.
wonderful man. Race number 3. So let's start with a replay of a horse we didn't pick on top, and that's 5-2, coming off the claim for Linda Rice. I don't know, 8 months away. I got a bad
Yeah.
feeling about this horse.
And a big drop in class off of the layoff.
She has
as
good numbers
well.
off the drop off the claim.
I know that.
But the layoff
But the
is
layoff
mitigating.
is what concerns me a bit as well. Look, this is a horse that I had written down in my notes. One that I think is unhappy in between horses. She's not the most comfortable being between, and so when she was able to tip out and
Yep.
make that big run on the outside that day was to her benefit. And this is a horse that Linda reclaimed, but I don't think Linda reclaimed this horse in November to wait to run
To
her
drop
in
it opening day in
July.
Saratoga?
Yeah.
Right,
I think
I
she
agree.
was thinking to run her throughout the winter. So I found her just a little bit tough to take.
I agree, and we both have her third. Certainly this horse can win in here.
Yeah.
I'm not thrilled either. Talk about my 2 Sophias.
She is taking a big drop in class as well. She faced her stablemate, My Magic Wand, who's quite good last time out. The blinkers coming off. She has some tactical speed. She started out winning against Straight New Jersey bred company and then was kind of thrown to the wolves. I feel like yes, maybe it is a big drop given the numbers she's been racing, but I feel like it kind of makes sense.
She cost $16,000.
Exactly, yeah.
Where are they supposed to run her? And
Yeah,
Greg
what are you
Sacco,
supposed to do with her?
that
Yeah.
barn has been terrific
Yep.
all year. I know Greg's son has been here as the
Bill,
trainer for a lot of the time.
Yep.
But I mean, they just win. They just win. So I saw this. I saw the same things you did. Thought this horse was very logical. You mentioned though the pace, because I want to look at Bam's Bliss Kiss, who I kind of almost went 7-5, and you've left her out completely. And I thought about switching when you picked the vibe, just have a different horse on top. They are completely giving up on her. But this was a big win, and I think it's important to look what's happened since she won this race on March 21st. She caught 2 muddy seal tracks where she couldn't make the lead, and then they tried the turf where she also didn't make the lead. Now she's in a race where, barring an incident at the start, she's going to make the lead, and I think that makes her very dangerous in here.
I know.
You don't agree, obviously,
No,
which is fine.
I probably was just too hard on her. It's just that she's a horse that has always been a little bit tough for me because she doesn't necessarily do it in the prettiest way. She goes to the lead, she's able to dig in sometimes, and I know that she's taking a huge drop in class, but it felt to me recently like she had that win in March, and then they went into the Stallion Series. I get it. You take a shot, you're eligible for that race. It's a lot of money. Didn't work out. She comes back in an off-the-turf race. Then they try the turf. Now it's a huge drop in class. And yes, her speed makes her dangerous, but she's always been one that I find just a bit tough to trust.
And David Duggan, for what it's worth, is 0 for 7 with non-maidens, first time for a tag on the dirt. And I agree with those things, but I think this is a horse that if you dig into it, you could make the case that she's dirtied up and she's better than she looks. And she is a horse that has run well when she's been able to control and been horrible when she hasn't been able to. So that may have played a role as well. Race number 4. So, Linda, why did you scratch all class? You know Linda's watching the show, and she's going, I know I am not getting through the 4th race unscathed.
Yes.
With the drop down of all class in here, who was the horse to beat. You and I are going to try to wire the field with Majestic Return, who I don't trust at all.
I don't either.
She actually ran okay last time, though.
She did. I thought that, too. I thought it was a deceptively decent race that she ran against just much tougher. And
Just
she gets
fell
back.
apart, that race.
Yeah, it totally did. And she had the blinkers on first time for a while last time. And she gets back on a fast track, which I think that she'll appreciate. I thought that given her inside speed, Kendrick's going to send with her, even with the presence of all class, I thought she would be an interesting one to take.
Yeah, now she may turn out to be the favorite. If she is, not great.
Yep.
We'll see how much money Proudfoot takes. I wouldn't be surprised if she's the favorite with Irad. And I think Proudfoot's very dangerous
She
here.
is, absolutely. I know you and I are card-carrying members of the Fernando Abreu fan club, and this one is same thing, been running against tougher. She was also in that Maggie's Palace race, but she faced Dolomite 2 starts back, and I think the drop just makes sense with her.
Yeah, no, I agree. I think she's very logical. Olga, we'll take a look at her win, I think, last time out at Gulfstream. I did this for Acacia, just so Acacia could think back to her glory days down at Gulfstream Park. How many years did you work there?
6 years, yeah.
Wow.
6.
But
But
like 17 to
overlapped
23 or 16 to 22?
16 to 22.
Okay.
But I overlapped the last couple of years. I was working for Naira and Gulfstream. Yeah.
You are a workhorse.
Yeah.
You are.
I'm
Let me
incapable
tell
of
you
sitting
something,
still.
Acacia. Yes. 6 years.
Yeah.
How many summers? 4 summers?
I did 3 summers.
It's a rough summer.
Yeah.
It's a
Yeah.
rough summer.
2019 was my first summer here.
What percentage of those summer nights did you cry yourself to sleep?
Let me tell you. Well, honestly, in all honesty, the first one was tough because I was 22. I moved to Florida in May when everybody else left, and it was tough. Yeah, it was
It's
tough.
hard, you know.
It's hard,
Yes,
yeah.
it is.
Yeah.
But anyway, I have so many great memories from the old Gulfstream. Some of the greatest times of my life were the winters when I
Yeah.
was playing full time and going there in the winter.
Yeah.
It was
Amazingly,
really good.
this is my 7th summer here
the-
with Naira.
Really?
Yeah,
Wow. Time flies.
I know.
So 19 was your first year with
19
us?
was my first year
Wow.
here. Yeah.
One thing I'll say about Olga's last race, the race kind of collapsed. I thought the races, she's gotten pretty good trips
She
in
has.
the race.
She's
but
gotten a nice
she's
setup.
far from impossible in race number 4. Race number 5 will kick up the pick 6. It is the first division of the De La Rose. I wonder the last time we split a stake race.
This is amazing.
I remember splitting the risk averse many years ago when Eric Donovan and my favorite horse, the horse named for the strip club.
What?
Yeah. What was the name of that horse? Yeah, the horse that
You can't
ran
say the
Finger
horse named
Lakes.
for the
Everybody
strip
knows
club
that. I
and then
can't think of the
not
name. The
follow
dirt
it.
sprinter. She was good. The trainer said he named her after his deceased wife. Was the whole thing? Remember this story? What's the name of that horse?
Who was the
Anyway,
trainer?
by the way, I know Battle of Normandy was the horse that beat Frank texted me.
I don't think that one's named for a strip club.
Something's. Oh, someone will text me. Anyway, that was the risk averse. So let's start with Edict and Heredia, who are the horses. You know, let me ask you a question. Does Edict get a little bit tougher
Yes.
with the scratch? Though
Of
in
On
our
Command.
time is probably the one that really
In
gets
our
tougher.
time is going to send, but with On Command coming out, it does take a little bit of the starch out.
Yeah, I think that Lisa's Booby Trap.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah. It is what it is.
That's
They are
not what I
legal.
was going to
They
guess.
are legal. It's
Yeah.
not a
Yeah.
not taboo. I thought Heredia ran really well in
Yeah.
here. Dynamic pricing ran better. Obviously, Heredia saved ground. Dynamic pricing looped the field. She also won the Just a Game. This is a horse that has serious European credentials.
Yeah, she does. I remember liking her this day in the Bogey, and I was not downstairs. I was on the set, and I remember Maggie saying that she thought that she needed a race for fitness. She'd had a long time away, and she does come back now, not having run since the Bogey in May.
Was she entered
but
and rained off?
She was.
Yeah.
Yeah, she was. I was trying to think if she had run Belmont Week, but I didn't see
I
her
can't
in the
remember,
stakes.
but I
she
know-
was
I'm pretty sure she
definitely
was.
entered and rained off at some point. But yeah, I mean, she was third to Inspiral in Group 1 company in Newmarket before coming back over here to stateside and off the layoff. So I think that she's certainly a horse that will take a step forward, second time U.S.
I just got text from Nick Tamaro and my friend Sean. I'm guessing they both knew the horse name. I'm guessing they've probably been there. Anyway, yeah, I think Heredia's horse, but this is such a good field. Acacia likes Larray so much, the two, that she actually picked a horse trained by her husband second. Can we switch the videos and show the Larray video and the Winter Memories? Here
I
is
have
my
a soft
problem
spot
with
for
this
them.
horse.
I know.
My problem is that this horse in this race got an absolute dream
did.
trip coming up the inside.
You wanted to be on the rail,
Right.
which is exactly what
This
Joelle
was some
did.
ride by Joelle.
This was sensational.
This was brilliance.
Yeah, it really was. And that being said, I know that she got the right kind of trip this day, but she ran. I
She
mean,
did.
typically horses that come over from Europe first time for the barn do well, but maybe not necessarily winning. And she ran this day too. She went to Keeneland, and the last time she got keen behind horses, she never looked settled or comfortable
No.
throughout any stage of the running.
Was
of
she a
that
little
race
too
in
close?
Valley View. I think that she was. Yes, I think that she needs to drop off of it and make a run. But she's coming back, excited to see what she can do. Oh, she's shown she can run well, fresh. So we'll see.
No, I agree. I'm glad to see her back, and I like her. In
Yeah.
our time is obviously very, very dangerous
Yes.
on the outside, and we'll take a look at her finishing second in the Honey Fox 2 races back before she got caught up. And it just, I mean, she just didn't really get her trip last time out, and I'm scared of her in the front end, but it theoretically may be a different track than last week.
Talk about a horse that's not had the luck of the draw, though. I mean, she's got early speed. How many times was she
Amazing.
posted way outside
It's
down
amazing.
at
10,
Gulfstream?
10, 10,
I know.
8, 10, 7 here with the scratch.
Yeah, and last time, I mean, she was stuck wide. She never saw the rail throughout any running of that race, which is not the trip that you want down at Gulfstream on that turf course either. I didn't update my picks with the scratch of On Command. I thought that with her edict and On Command in the race, it was going to maybe take a little bit of starch out, but she's absolutely dangerous coming in fresh.
And Louis knows what to do. You just send her. You just send her and you hope
absolutely.
for the best with her.
Absolutely.
Listen, I'm not against Deep Satin in here. I mean,
neither.
you've got her third. I didn't
Yeah.
put her anywhere at her fifth, but she's pretty good. I just felt a little bit, and this is her race at Keeneland when the yielding turf. Sweet Rebecca came back, didn't run as well. She's going to have to step it up a little bit to beat the
Yes.
horses in here. Not a lot,
agree.
but a little bit. And there's too many horses that are at least a little bit better than her. That was
I know.
my concern.
That is fair. That is fair. I thought that she'd be intriguing. At a bit of a price. She was posted to the outside last time and she broke slowly. I think she's better when she's able to kind of get into the race a little bit more like she did this day in that allowance at Keeneland. Obviously, it's going to be a much different turf that she'll have today versus that day. But, I mean, she ran well, dead heating in the Virginia Oaks and able to handle a little bit longer. So I guess the question would be, is the mile better? But we saw at Keeneland, she can do the mile as well.
Yep, I agree. Alluring Angel, not impossible. She'd really step forward for Chad Brown, but she runs by appointment only. And I was looking at some stats. 6 to 12 months in turf routes. Billmont's 8 for 60, $1.06 ROI. And in trainer switches, he's 0 for 9, suggesting that she may need a race
Interesting.
for what it's
Yeah.
worth. All right, that's it. Anything else?
No.
All right, that's the first 5. We will take a break and come back with the late pick 5.
You bet with Naira Bets. Bet any track, anywhere, anytime. Download the Naira Bets app to play today and get a $200 deposit bonus. Watch live horse racing. Get expert picks. Boost your bankroll with weekly promotions and hone your handicapping skills with exclusive tips and tutorials. Download the Naira Bets app now. Sign up now to claim your $200 deposit match bonus. You bet with Naira Bets.
Welcome back to Talking Horses. Acacia Clement and Andy Serling. Are you on the early show with me, or
Yes.
Okay, so you get off for this race.
Yes.
You must be psyched. This is a
This is a really fun race.
This is a really
Yeah.
fun race.
I get to go to the paddock and unabashedly root.
And I'm going to start by showing a horse that you and I don't have in our top 4. I think Maggie talked to George Weaver about, and that's going to be on our show a little bit later today. And we'll show Cy Fair working 9 4/5.
Yeah.
I'm interested in what your interpretation was of this work.
Well, she went 9 4. She went fast.
She's
You can
fast.
see she's hanging on the left lead. She's lugging in, but the rider doesn't move. It's not like he's asking her nonstop. And I will say, I watched her last workout on the turf here, which you can see on First TV, and she was not doing that. She was very professional throughout the stretch. She was going far better than her workmate. And the dam is the sister to Crimson Advocate, which I
Right.
thought was a really interesting pedigree, and I'm
Were you
sure that just kind of piqued George's interest.
Were you surprised she sold for only $185,000 as a not this time, who stands for
Yes.
$175,000, is
Well,
one of the best sires out there?
That's
what
I
bothered
don't
me.
remember,
And that work?
I didn't see her at the sale. I know that she went fast, but these days at OBS there are a lot of fast works. And
Right.
so if you have anything against you, like the fact that you're lugging in or hanging on the inside lead, it's just immediately, I think, going to cross you off some people's lists.
And I do want to say, on a personal note, this horse is owned by Reagan Swinbank, who's a friend of a lot of ours. And Reagan was supposed to be here this week. Reagan's kids were at the camp down in Texas, and they are fortunately okay, unlike many others who unfortunately lost their lives in just a horrendous tragedy. But nonetheless, our thoughts go out to Reagan, but also to everybody that's involved in that unthinkably awful situation. But we're glad that Reagan's kids are safe, and we look forward to seeing him sometime later this meet. Though sorry he didn't come this week, and I did want to mention that. Okay, let's start going through these horses, because I think there's something to say about a lot of these.
Yes.
And, why don't we start with Sadie Earp, who you have on top, the one for Wesley Ward. Is this the better one? This one certainly has pedigree.
Yes, has a big pedigree. By Tis the Law, the dam won the La Pavilion. She was better going long on the turf, but there's plenty of turf pedigree. Half to stakes winner, Classical Cat. I mean, pretty much all the siblings have been runners so far. Watching the last workout, unfortunately, is not on First TV, which I would have loved to watch. But with the Clocker report, she was going far better than Gracie's Delight, who's also in this race. But you can watch the 1-2 back, where she went from the gate with Schwarzenegger, who Wesley told
entered
me
on
Sunday, who Wesley told me the other day is the 2-year-old that he's most excited about coming up soon.
Really?
So I thought that was a little bit
He'll be
interesting.
back.
He'll be back. Yeah.
Really? Schwarzenegger feels like
Yeah.
a guaranteed taking too much
It
money.
has to be a
Yes.
good horse
That's
with a good
that's an interesting
name,
race on
though.
Sunday.
Yeah.
I thought that was kind of funny. Listen, I didn't pick this horse. Wesley's. I could have picked a million of these.
You could make a case
for so
a
many.
lot.
The 4 who I have on top and you have second for
I've
Arnaud
heard a lot
Delacour.
about this horse.
Showcasing's
Yeah.
been very effective. I looked up some stats. Arnaud Delacour with 2-year-old first-time stars in turf sprints. None were in New York, but he's 5 for 18 with a 239 ROI. And I thought this horse had the look of one that could really be a runner and might not be as short a price as some of the others.
Yeah, so it was purchased at Arcana for about $335,000. The dam is the sister to a Group 1 placed horse. Been training really sharply at Fairhill. From all reports, has really been doing very well coming in.
I'm curious why David Aragona, and I don't mean this to knock him, but more as a complimentary. He has Gracie's Delight, the one that's running dirt at 3-1, and the 5, Sadie Earp. And it feels like, could they have worked together on
They did.
July 4th? And it looks like Sadie Earp
Sadie
beat him.
Earp went
And I'm
better.
wondering, maybe David will text me and tell me why he thought that, because Sadie Earp seems the one with more pedigree. But
My
this
only
horse
guess
has
is that
run and has
Gracie's
speed.
Delight has experience.
Yeah, I mean, I'm sure that played a role.
Yeah.
But we'll see if, in fact, that turns out. Let's talk about others in here. Let's talk about Keto Drink on the rails after Brew Pub, but there's probably better dirt, but there's plenty of turf.
I know. Keto Drink, I actually liked the last workout. Watching that one on the turf, went solo. Was really kind of just cruising. I love Twirling Candy. I think he's one of the more underrated sires. I think that is really, really talented. Since after Gold Sweep, who was precocious, though never tried the turf.
But the second dam was turf. There's plenty of turf.
Yep.
Mermaid even has some turf pedigree. The second dam was very good on the
Very
grass. Aporia, who I have second and you have fourth. Is this I want my husband to do well, but I don't want to pick one? This one is a half to simply in front. This is a half to 4 turf winners out of 4 to try it.
Every horse in the family
and it's a war front.
can run. Yeah, it's funny. When this filly was purchased at the Phasic Tipton sale, she was bought right across the street last year. It was right after that there were a bunch of big updates in the family. So if you're kind of saying, well, maybe she should have gone for a bit more, selling across the street, right after was when there were a lot of big updates with a lot of those stakes winners. But yeah, I mean, Churchtown, Honored Lady, Simply in Front, and One More Time. I mean, who won the Natalma? All of them are runners in the family. She actually worked in company with Inspire Courage, was a little bit quicker early and more professional as far as switching her leads, but I thought then Inspire Courage finished better in the stretch.
Thank you.
Yeah.
David Aragona just texted me, and I appreciate his candor. He said that his morning line was very much based on the rider assignments, and I can understand that. It makes certain sense.
Yeah.
Joel on the other one, and no knock on Victor Espinoza, but he's riding here, and Joel you might think might be on the better one. And he said, judging by the Clocker reports, he might be wrong. So, listen, I mean, he does a lot more right than he gets wrong, and you're going to get things right. What about you have the 8, so it begins, has plenty of pedigree. Half the 6 turf winners out of 8 to try it. And Inspire Courage even, who you have third. And so you have this one ahead of Aporia. Is this the better one?
I don't know. But I liked the pedigree with this one, and I wondered about Aporia. Like I said, maybe needing a start. A lot of them are really good in the family with war fronts. Sometimes you'll see them maybe take a little bit of time to come to hand, but Inspire Courage, there's just a ton in the second generation of turf sprint pedigree. So that's kind of why I went with this one versus the other one. You see a little bit more distance in the pedigree, but I don't know.
And even Hot List on the far outside who's the one. I mean, this horse is a too darn hot, and the second dam was a good turf horse. Todd Pletcher's numbers at Saratoga, first-time starters in turf sprints, 2-year-olds, 2 for $8, $15 overall, 6 for $34, $22. Numbers are inspiring, but it's a firster and has pedigree.
Yep. It was purchased at Tattersall's for about $127,000. Too darn hot, as you mentioned, out of a Kingman mare. So there's definitely pedigree to suggest there's a little ability there too.
And I was looking through the first Saratoga special of the year. There is an extensive run through of Todd Pletcher's barn and something about just about every horse if people are interested to look at that a little bit later. That's race 6, a fun race for sure. Race number 7 at 1 mile and an 1/8. Let's start the conversation with Endorse. We'll get the replay in a minute, even though Case picked on top. This was the horse that was supposed.
No, I picked the one.
No, I know. That's why I said the replay I have is for your horse.
Gotcha. Okay.
But I will show that after because I think we need to talk about the race that Endorsed is coming out of. I've got the horse second. You've got her third. I don't trust her. She's the speed.
I know.
But I got to tell you, when they're 4 to 5 first time out, and she lost to a very good horse in Ragtime, but there are other horses coming out of that race, most notably Lost Horizon, but also Resurge, the closed hatches, both of whom I think are very, very dangerous to move forward. And I like Lost Horizon out of that race, who to me, a Wowcat, probably more distance, looks like a horse that will greatly benefit from that race, and I like Lost Horizon today.
Yeah, I agree. Of the horses out of that race, I put Lost Horizon in second. Totally agree. Was not the quickest out and looked like a horse that would appreciate more distance. Ragtime did come back to win. Philly Freedom, who finished second, came back and finished second in her subsequent start.
But was not inspiring.
No, I agree. I thought it was, all things considered, a little disappointing.
But I will say something about her. Unlike this horse, Lost Horizon was 10 to 1 in a big field where that was money. That horse was about 30 to 1 first time out and kind of surprised Chad Brown, I think, first time out.
And then she took a ton of money because of Ragtime. This is that race. I think I had mentioned it when talking about Philly Freedom, but neither Maggie nor I were in the paddock, so I don't have anything to compare these horses with. But
so why are you even up here?
Why am I here? Why am I doing anything? Anyway, Resurge. You want to talk about the pedigree play of the day. This one is 3/4 to Tacitus, Scylla, and Batten Down.
This is a giant, and the dam herself was a star, and I thought she ran okay in there. I think she's very dangerous here, second time as well.
I totally agree.
So Lobby Rendezvous is a funny horse because I'm going to show you the last half mile. Well, when it says half to finish, that usually means the last half mile. That's why I specify something different than the quarter we always show. So, Acacia, why don't you talk about this horse's trip? Because this horse had somewhat of a ridiculous ride last time, to
Yes,
be fair.
I agree. She was off the pace. She got a little bit keen early and looked like she was just fighting her rider with the addition of those blinkers. She was almost kind of leaping up in the air early on in the race, which
Very erratic.
I cannot imagine in any way, shape, or form that was good to her positive forward momentum in any way. And then she ended up being second best at the 4 to 5 favorite there. But it looks like she was kind of then dragging her rider up and just running in stops and starts, never anything smooth in there. And I know that her races prior to that have not been the most
That's the
inspiring.
problem. Like, where did her last race come from?
I know. I
She
don't know
broke
if it was the
slow in this
blinkers or
race.
the
She was out in the middle of the
distance.
track the
Yeah.
whole way. I mean, the winner did wire the field, and she, some things went well, but she ran very well in there.
She did.
I still wonder if she's good enough to beat the courses in
I
here,
know.
who I think might be quality.
Yep.
But I agree, she's interesting in here.
I
But
thought
this
she was in
may
bit
be a
of new
tough
pace.
spot for
I
her.
agree. I mean, this came up a very competitive maiden
Right.
race.
We'll see what happens. A fun race, a mile and an eighth. Race number 7. Race number 8, the other divisional de la Rose. It's not as deep at a higher level, but there are some pretty good horses, and we'll start out with moving on up. The horse who's favored in this race, and I don't have a big problem with her. She's sort of logical and the horse to beat, I think.
Yep, she comes out of that mint julep behind Pinup Betty,
I think
who's
this
been in
is
good
her.
form.
No, this is Sand Springs at Gulfstream, excuse me, when she won.
Oh, this is when she won. Okay,
Yes.
so this is when she won. She ran a good race this day. She was forward. I think last time in the mint julep, she kind of settled off inside and then ended up having kind of the hole closed late where she had to then kind of try to run on, whereas down in the Sand Springs, she was able to kind of
She got some
continue
trip.
on in a beautiful trip that day for sure.
But she might be the best horse in the race.
Yeah,
and I think you have to
certainly.
be careful about being too much of a wise guy
I
and
agree.
trying to beat a horse in the best race. I like Azara in here. I'm going to show her win at Gulfstream 2 back. But I think it's important to note in her last race, that was a day at Monmouth where you wanted to be inside. And I think she was compromised by making a big wide move in that race. And I really think it really affected her on June 14th. And I thought she ran well in here. I know Breath Away doesn't win, though I hold fast that she gets unlucky more often
I
than
know.
not. And this was a horse who's on her way to being one of the better 3-year-old fillies in the country last year
Yeah.
before she went to the sideline. And I think she's run well in all her starts back. She draws the inside. I like Azara today.
It's really encouraging to see her back and running well as a 4-year-old. She is a sassy filly as well, but she was also in Eatontown. She was acting up pretty badly in the gate prior to the race, and I think kind of didn't do herself any favors when she's able to kind of get that right kind of trip, which I think she'll get from the rail post draw in here today. I certainly agree.
So you pick Fun with Flags because you love the Big Bang Theory like I do.
I do love The Big Bang Theory,
great show.
actually. It is, I think, one of the
Great
most
show.
clever
Great
shows.
show.
Yeah, I love it.
She didn't get the best of trips last
No,
time. I
she
didn't
did not.
show it. I should have, but talk about it.
No, she did not. She was a little keen early. It looked like that was one that Sammy Camacho might
She
want
was
back.
totally blocked
She
the
was
entire
totally
stretch run
stuck.
until the
He
end.
decided to go in the inside, and instead she was stuck with a wall of horses, and she was pulling, and he was pulling, and it just nobody was happy.
I agree. My problem is,
I don't know if
is
she's
she
good
good
enough.
enough?
Yes.
That's my problem.
Yeah,
And it's
I
Chad
don't know.
Brown, so she's going to take
I
more
know.
money than she probably should. But she was unlucky last time.
She
There's no
was.
doubt about it.
She was. And I think the race at Fairgrounds 2 starts back where Way to Be Marie won. She was off of a layoff that time. It was her first time in the barn. And I wonder if she could have a little bit of a smoother run should she be able to get into the race a little bit more comfortably.
The pace projector has spinning colors on top. And I know she set some quick paces. Do we really think that Ricardo Santana is going to rate do-gooder in here? He's an aggressive rider. And do we really think that Irad's going to make is not going to make Johnny's life a little difficult with moving on up, who ain't
Yeah.
that slow either?
No.
And I wonder a little bit if she's going to have a run, because she had the absolute dream
She
setup
was
last
able
time.
to waltz
It's a big
on the
price
front
we
end
like her,
last
but-
time. I know, and look, she was very good that day, and she's run some nice races, but she was able to waltz on the front end in that Mount
I
Vernon.
agree. See what happens in the second division. These are 2 divisions. We didn't screw up. 2 divisions of the De La Rose. Don't let anybody tell you. It's so great that I have Acacia here to back me up when I try to pronounce the French words correctly.
I got you.
Race number 9 is a confusing race. Let's take a look at Our Liberty Bell, who is the 3-1 morning line favorite. This is her running second last time, but running second to a horse that would be a heavy favorite in here.
Yes, absolutely. With Savas Melania that day, she's cutting back in distance. She's been with Wayne Potts. And look, I mean, credit to Wayne. He claimed her off of Linda Rice, and Jamie Ness had her prior to that, and he was able to win and get a second with her. I don't know. She's fine. I don't know if she's necessarily the most trustworthy. She's coming in here with some decent credentials, but I don't know. I didn't really feel totally inspired by her.
I agree. I picked her. I'll say something else. Wayne Potts, I think, is 4 for many, or 3 for many. I think he's 4% in his starters in Saratoga over the last 5 years, and that's something I wanted to keep in mind, though obviously she can win the race. Talk about the horse we both picked on top, Killy Start.
Well, I think you and I both liked her last time, and the question was she's a little edgy going to repeat that big effort she'd had to back, and turned out that she did.
She actually didn't. She improved on it.
She improved, which is amazing. But I thought that she was going to get a good trip today, Killy Start. You've got Spiritual Lady with speed to the rail. Short shift should be forward. Despo's Dream is not totally slow, and Problematica's kind of got to send. So I thought that she was going to end up with a pretty nice trip in here.
I felt the same way, and that was a day that I thought she probably wanted to be inside speed, and she made a big looping run as others did. And I didn't even think looks first. I didn't think she was good enough to put in there, but I had her 5th, and I thought she wasn't impossible at a much bigger price.
Yeah.
Let's talk about Despo's Dream. Goes out for Fernando, who I think we both agree is dangerous in here, and has Flavian Pratt. This is her second place finish on June 12th to Street View, who was a Stephen Shower horse. I don't know. I think she's certainly a player in here. I thought she was, I don't know if she's as good as those last 2 figures make her suggest, but maybe she's a horse that's really improved for Fernando.
Yeah, that's a very good point, because they are faster than what she was running prior to that. It's a stumbled at the start, but she was still able to get forward position. I don't think it really took her out of her game
I didn't
at
think
all.
so either. You know, anybody else we need to discuss here? Problematico as Speed comes in for Linda after a win last time. I thought Speed was good last time, and I just thought she was kind of a cut below these.
I thought so too.
Short shift is 4 to 1 on the line. I know it's Brad. I don't love this horse. I didn't think she really improved a lot for Brad.
I was just going to say that. I know that Viamente's been in good form, but I didn't think that she took much of a step forward last time.
I agree. Race number 10, the last race today. And this is a bit of a doozy, but you and I are both going to Phil Serpy. I have a very good ROI with Phil Serpy. I need to pick Phil Serpy. I do well with Phil.
Around for other alternatives.
He's 1 for 2 for what it's worth. The first time for a tag with non-maidens in the dirt. And I don't know. I mean, he's kind of giving up. She's a $22,000 purchase that's making her 7th start later in her 4-year-old season. What's she supposed to do?
Yeah, exactly. That was my thought as well. And he's tried her against some tougher company in the last time, and she's not up to it. So I think this is just a little bit of the logical spot for her. As far as best impression is concerned, she's also 3rd off of the layoff, gets back on a fast track, and she certainly could just be finding herself in the right spot today.
Yeah, let's pass on the replay, Eddie, since none of us have this horse in the mix. What about Bella Voce, who I have 2nd, you have 4th? I know she's been terrible for Linda, but Linda has good numbers making these substantial drops, and this horse feels like one that might just be one of those Lindas that runs better at a big price, because I don't want Rock Harbor. I don't want Focus Pocus, who has lost too many races that she had handed to her, though I know today is over 7.
Focus Pocus 2nd.
Well, what is Focus Pocus going to do in here, Acacia, with Blue Eyed Scout?
Yes, I know. Blue Eyed Scout is going to send, and Rock Harbor is probably going to send as well, especially with the blinkers going on Blue Eyed Scout. But as far as Focus Pocus is concerned, she's one that actually doesn't break that quickly. If you watch her last race, she actually broke really awkwardly from the rail and then kind of had to rush up in here. She's drawn to the outside of the other speeds in this spot, which I actually thought would be to her advantage, and could kind of be in a pressing spot.
I give up on her. I just give up on her.
That's fair.
Handle on You, we both have in the mix a little bit. She's got to get faster, but she is dropping and picking up Flavian Pratt.
She is, absolutely.
I thought the interesting pricey horse to use was Dream on Care. I know she's 1 for 29, but Gustavo's going well. She's
He
dropping
is.
back after being over her head. And I also thought she would get some pace in this race. I thought she's the bomb. I'd try to like to get in there somewhere
Certainly.
in race 10. Acacia, thank you. Terrific
Thank
job
you.
as always.
Always fun.
Thank you for watching. Gorgeous day. I think you're going to have an ascension to the mean in that you've knocked so many days off the turf. I think you're going to be a good luck charm for us
Oh, I
with
like
weather.
that.
I
I
believe
like that.
you're
Well,
due for a
it's probably
change.
because I switched to Thursdays from Fridays.
You think that's what it is?
That's probably
That was
it.
the move. All right. Head over to Naira Bets. If you're not a member, special new promo code SPA200. Use that promo code. We'll match with $200 of your initial deposit. Play through Naira Bets. But any track, anywhere, anytime through Naira Bets.
Andy's been trying
Keep
to say
'em
SPA
going.
200 for a month.
I know.
So you finally get to.
I know. We've got the $40 feed-in. That's tomorrow. You have to post time. That's the $300 contest Saturday, which you can also play if you don't want to play the feeder, you don't qualify. You play it all through Naira Bets. More information at nairabets.com/contests. What else do we have? 10% bonus. I almost did it again, Eddie. Hit a win bet at Saratoga. Opt in over for that. Get the information on that at nairabets.com. We also have cross-country pick 5. 3 at Saratoga, 2 at Horseshoe Indy. Next, we have the New York Pavilion. Check that out in the backyard by Gate A. A lot of fun back there. A lot of good stuff going on. We're doing this for years. Always a good time. Check it out Thursdays through Sunday here at Saratoga. We have a T-shirt giveaway, and this is a good one. It's a red one. Got all the stakes in the back.
I'm
Gotta
excited.
come for this T-shirt. I am
Yeah.
too. I'm gonna steal Johnny Kakamise's. Johnny, don't think you're getting a T-shirt. I'm stealing it from you. And last but not least, we're on from 1 to 6:30 on FS2. And occasionally I got to be on early, so we got to go.
Yep.
Frank Miramati, he's got nowhere to go. He's stuck in the booth all day. He's up with a reprise of the Scratches and Changes as opening day, the official opening day at Saratoga, gets started in just over 40 minutes. Have a wonderful day.
You bet with Naira Bets. Bet any track, anywhere, anytime. Download the Naira Bets app to play today and get a $200 deposit bonus. Watch live horse racing. Get expert picks. Boost your bankroll with weekly promotions and hone your handicapping skills with exclusive tips and tutorials. Download the Naira Bets app now. Sign up now to claim your $200 deposit match bonus. You bet with Naira Bets.